Hi, everybody. This is going to be kind of short. I just wanted to jump on. I'm in between two classes, actually, but I wanted to jump on and say a few things. It's been a few days since I've come live, and I probably won't have time to do a live stream over the next 3 days because I have the Miracles and Metamorphosis Summit coming up. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday and Wednesday are 6 interviews with amazing mentors and healers, and Thursday is 4, and that's not counting the healing prayer matrix Q&A that I'll be doing. So it's a full immersion event, and you can sign up for free. It's totally free at gateofunity.com, gateofunity.com. If you're watching on YouTube, or Facebook, the sign up link is below the video, gateofunity.com/summit. So once you sign up, actually, when you go to the page, you can see the speakers. And again, I'm an additional speaker healer. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you. So I really hope that you'll be able to make it. It's when I say I called it Miracles and Metamorphosis because metamorphosis is so on my mind. It's when we change our way of being. It's awakening. It's when we stop being a caterpillar, when we stop being stuck in our old identity and stuck in the past, stuck in the snow globe, and we start to actually awaken and start feeling, releasing, integrating, living from the light of who and what we are. And we don't really even know who and what we are. But that's where miracles come from. And we're here to become miracle makers, not just because, it's fun, which it definitely is. It definitely is fun. It definitely is an upgrade in life. But because that's part of our mission. Part of our mission is to take the light of heaven, the light of our divine source, and start revealing it through us and as us. Kabbalah Queen, thank you so much. Kimberly, nice to see you. I see I got ditched for Ellie. I understand. I like watching Ellie too. Anyway, so the only reason I'm saying all of that, I don't have time to go into a whole long thing. Like I said, I'm teaching 2 classes here for my influencer program. So I just have a little short while. But the point I want to make is that miracles are a result of and part of metamorphosis, awakening, changing, revealing who and what we are and our source, that deep source inside. But miracles are real. Somebody sent me an email today asking, how do I define a miracle? And she didn't explain why she wanted to know, but I think that people sometimes want to know, like, what do you really mean real miracles? Like when you say miracle, do you mean like something really miraculous? And yes, I do. Kabbalah Queen, thank you. That warms my heart. Anyway, so I mean real miracles. And the truth is that everything is a miracle. I'll be talking about this more tomorrow in my first session, the opening intention and prayer. But everything is a miracle because everything is coming into being. Kabbalah explains from divine consciousness, divine intention, from divine nothingness, blipping in and out of reality way faster than the speed of thought. So everything essentially is a miracle, but how I'm defining miracle here is things that break the laws of nature. And we're meant to be breaking the laws of nature more and more, and not randomly, like I said, not just because it's fun, but because we're meant to reveal what's really happening here. We're meant to be partners with Source. Mr. Ron, hi. We're meant to be co-creative. I keep getting distracted by you guys. I watch Ellie do this. He's like talking to everybody, and he doesn't lose his stream. I have to get used to it. I used to be in the habit of like in my classes, I'm very interactive, but when I speak, I'm used to kind of launching myself, and then I just keep talking. So anyway, we're all learning and growing. So I highly recommend the summit. It's going to change you in amazing ways. It's going to change me too, and everybody who's involved. And I put my being into these things, and I pray a lot, and I absolutely know that God comes and participates with us and every person who's there. So again, you can sign up. Yay, Kabbalah Queen signed up. You can sign up at the link below, www.gateofunity.com/summit. And the next thing I want to say is it by coincidence. So I picked the date for my own reasons. It was very impulsive, and I wasn't planning to do any summits. I was actually on hiatus. I was teaching my paid programs, my inner circle students, and that was it, and writing a book. And I had made a deep decision not to keep doing online events. Like they say, man thinks, man tracht and God lacht. Man thinks and God laughs. Man plans and God laughs. Anyway, so it just happened that something, I'm not going to go into what, but something catalyzed me to do a summit and a follow-up workshop, which I'm going to be announcing later. That'll be in a couple weeks, also free. So I just was asked to pick a date, and I picked a date after Passover because I couldn't pick a date before Passover, and I wasn't thinking. And I picked something. I picked a date that was somewhere like 3.5 or 4 weeks ahead of when I put it on the calendar. I've never done a summit in 4 weeks. You have to reach out to all the speakers, coordinate the calendar, get all the tech done, do all the preparation, all the planning, all the promotion so people show up. Even though it's free, you still have to let people know about it and tell them why it's important. Anyway, so I thought, and somebody actually, one of the speakers said, why are you doing this now? Why are you doing this a week after Passover? And why are you doing this when so many other people are like tired from the holiday and whatever? And I'm like, I was asking myself the same thing. Why am I doing this? Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? And then I just said, it just happened like God did it. I guess he wants it this way. And that was it. And she said, yeah, I guess, And then the next day, somebody asked me, what is the Hebrew date of this event? And I looked on the calendar, and the Hebrew date, Tuesday, it's the 27th of the month of Nissan going into the 28th, Tuesday night. Tomorrow night is the 28th of Nissan. So the 28th of Nissan is the day when the Lubavitcher Rebbe, my mentor, the mentor of millions around the globe, when the Lubavitcher Rebbe announced that it is now we are in the Messianic Era, basically, and it's up to each of us to do what we can to bring it home. So what's the Messianic Era? It's like the birth canal, right? So there's the gestation, and the baby can't get born until it's developed. That would be dangerous. That would not work well. And the baby also can't stay in the womb longer than it needs to, because then it starts to lose its nutrition. It's too big. It doesn't have space. That's also dangerous. So when the time comes to be born, it enters the birth canal. And that's a process that's very different from gestation and very different from birth. And it is the necessary in between. So that's where we are right now. And that's the Messianic Era. And we've been in it for about 31 years. And the reason that it's taken so long, in my opinion, is because, I guess everything's meant to be after the fact, but it's consciousness dependent. Like any mother who's had a conscious birth knows that you can make it smoother. It can be accelerated when you don't, when you breathe in a certain way, when you have a certain focus. Anyway, the point is that we're all part of it. We are in the Messianic Era. We have been for a while now. We are close to the end. That's clear. How close? We're not 31 years away. Are we a week away? Are we a day away? Are we a month away? Are we a year away from the actual? I don't know. And I don't think it's written in stone. I learned once in another discourse from the Rebbe, which I cannot remember. I don't remember where it was, so I can't find it and learn it again. I wish I could. Maybe God will show it to me. But anyway, I learned that there's a reason. Maybe you're not familiar, but there's a reason. It says in the Torah that you're not allowed to predict the time when Mashiach, when the Redeemer will come, the Messiah will come. And the Rebbe explained the reason that there are no dates given is because there is no date, because it's interactive. It depends on us. We're in it. It's a symbiotic relationship. The inner core of each of us has a spark of the Redeemer, and the Redeemer, actual human being, was a soul in a body in a very higher level, but a soul in the body is made up of our souls, contains all of our souls, called the central soul, or the neshama klalit, or the universal soul. So anyway, we get to activate the spark within us, and that activates the collective soul of Mashiach, of the Redeemer. Just like if you take a homeopathic remedy and it's a right remedy, it will start to vibrate with certain of your cells, and then those cells will create a sympathetic vibration in more cells and more cells and more cells. Like if you have ever seen one of those videos on entrainment, metronome. Yeah, metronome. And you should look it up. Metronome, the little timer that musicians use that goes tick, 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 keeps the time. So there's some videos that show you like a room full of metronomes, and they all get started, and they're going in all kinds of crazy different directions, and then slowly, not so slowly, within a minute or two, really, they start to sync up. So they're catching the sympathetic vibration. This is really interesting also because you're 12 years old. Well, you're also Chabad. Oh, great. Okay. So we're all in it together, whatever we are, Jewish, Buddhist, anything at all, cosmic, ET. This is one universe, one God. But we're the players. We're the players here. So what's happening in the world around us is there's a certain frequency that's been foisted upon us over many years, and particularly over the last several years, that's very intense and very fear-based, and it's a literal frequency. All emotions have frequency, and this is done deliberately to create a sympathetic resonance with fear that causes what happens when people get into a state of fear. The brain waves go from beta or even alpha to high beta. You get frazzled, you can't think, you get reactive, you get triggered, you lash out, you become unconscious, you listen to authority. That's one of the biggest assets for people who would like to control you. So that's just a vibration. And as we become conscious, it's not just that we want to step out of that field, step out of that whole game, but we can create our own counter, like a homeopathic remedy. We can create a counter vibration, a counter that will create entanglement or entrainment, rather, with like-minded people. First the remedy catches the vibration that's closest to it, and then that spreads and causes entrainment with similar vibrations until it becomes a big force, and then it's a dominant vibration, and the whole system responds to it. So what's the dominant vibration going to be? What's the dominant vibration of the Messianic era? Well, it's like this. It's contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. It's like new things happening. It's like if you're not really focused. I've had my first child that was born, I didn't know what to expect. And I had back labor, and I was really, really I was terrified. I didn't know how to handle it, even though I'd taken classes, whatever. And then I had another birth that I was practicing breathing from literally 2 or 3 days ahead of time. And I stayed with it the whole time. And it was like all the way through, I was completely composed and calm. And when even at the hardest contractions, which would have put me into terror and pain in my first birth, I didn't even feel it as pain. I just, it was like, okay, pressure, breathe, ride it. And I literally went into the hospital with a doula who had just had a baby, and nobody knew. And I was in transition, like the most wild time. And nobody knew which one of us was in labor. So that's part of the point I'm making. It's just a good illustration. Maybe not everybody's going to relate to it, but it's a good illustration, a good mushel, a good analogy for the ability to handle this time of turmoil, the birth canal, the Messianic era, in which everything is shifting and changing and breaking and opening, coming online, going offline, exposing itself, hiding itself, pushing. So all of this is happening now, and this is the world that we live in as we're moving from one state of stability, the womb, the past, the way we always knew life to be, to another state of a different kind of stability, which we would call metastability, supernatural world. And in between, we're oscillating back and forth between these states. Some people are always staying in a state of fear. Some people are trying to stay in a state of awakening and increase that, and we're oscillating because we get triggered, but we don't have to get triggered nearly as much as we do. And that's the bottom line of what I want to say. The 28th of Nissan coming up tomorrow night. So it happened to be, maybe I didn't finish that thought. When I looked up the Hebrew date, I found that by divine providence, I had told this friend that God wanted it on this date, was this date of the 28th of Nissan. And by the way, my whole 32 years ago, I got activated in this kind of work. I got activated as a redemption, warrior, whatever, however you want to put it, then on that day. And I've never been able to go back, whether I wanted to or not. Sometimes I wanted to, sometimes I didn't want to, but there's no, it's like how many women in labor are like, this was a bad idea. I changed my mind. I want to go home. And it doesn't work like that. Like once you're in, and that's a good news also, because whoever thinks that is it going to happen, is it not, are we going to make it, how's it going to, once you're in the birth canal, once you're in the Messianic era, there is no going back. You're only going forward. The only question is, what path am I taking to go forward? Am I reacting to the vibration, that frequency that is being used to attack me, to control me? Or am I connecting to my own inner essence, my source, my power, my tribe, like-minded people, and creating a sympathetic vibration that brings light and goodness and destiny into the now? And that is specifically through connecting to many things, but specifically here through connecting to the process of metamorphosis and the idea, the reality of the supernatural. Miracles and metamorphosis. And that's really what the summit is about. That's really what all my work is about. If you're ever interested in checking out my program, it's quite amazing, but and transformational, but it is a commitment. But the summit is going to be 3 days of amazing, truly amazing. I don't choose them because they're lightweights or because they tell you stories about the past. Truly amazing mentors, healers, thought leaders who are all in this, like we say in Hebrew, in this inyan, who are all in this, vibration, and all in this story, all in this process, all in this discovery. Metaphysicists, metaphysicians who are, for themselves and for everyone, who are passionately looking to make way and get to that birth when everything changes and the world that we long for, the core of our beings, is here. The truth is, it's already here, but it's not revealed. We're in a snow globe, and it's outside of the snow globe and hidden within the snow globe. And our job is to reveal it here. Anyway, so that's what I wanted I just wanted to jump on and tell you about that. And if you haven't signed up for the summit, I suggest you do so. And also very much suggest that thank you, Kimberly, that you invite your friends. Everybody has 1, 2, 10, friends, or they have an email list or social media. Some of us have thousands. And the truth is that the more people who join us, who are like-minded, who connect to this vibration, this information, and start to entrain with it, exponentially, the farther and faster it will spread. This is Nissan. This is the month of miracles. It starts with a nun, which any word with a nun indicates miracles Kabbalistically, and it ends with a nun, the Hebrew letter, and 2 nuns indicates not only double miracles, but miracles upon miracles and miracles within miracles. And we're coming up, it's starting by this divine providence on the 28th, or leading into the 28th that night. In Israel, it will be the 28th, and the rest of the world, well, in Australia, it'll be the 28th. Part of it will be on whatever. It's starting on this date, which means that it is a special portal, a collective consciousness of searching and receiving and yearning and pulling down and absorbing and internalizing and practicing and activating this messianic consciousness, this supernatural God consciousness, that is the consciousness of the future and the powers to live with that, to live from that, and to co-create from that. So please share with your friends, share the link, encourage them to join. It's absolutely free. So, and there will be replays. The replays will be up through Sunday. They'll be up through the weekend. So it can meet anybody's schedule. It's also possible to buy the downloads for a ridiculously low price if you want to do that. And I guess that's what I have to say. Thanks for being on with me. We'll do more next time. But I hope to see you at the summit. By the way, all the calls are on Zoom. If you're on live, you get to comment live. You get to be on there and talk, and chat in the chat, ask questions. Sometimes we don't answer all questions, but sometimes we have time to ask questions and get them answered. It's very interactive and it's very powerful, and you'll meet other people. A lot of times, I'm talking to the speaker and 5 people in the chat are making best friends with each other. Really? You live in Boston? Can we meet? I can't believe you went to that same high school. Wow, you had that experience. We have to get together for coffee. Before I know it, they're somewhere else. But that's part of the picture. That's part of the whole process that we're connecting with our soul family, with our soul mates. And I don't mean the soul mate necessarily, that the one that you marry, but we have many soulmates who are really connected with our own souls, and it's very mystical, and we feel it. So we don't have to be connected to the people who live next door, per se, anymore. And that's part of the result of the Messianic Era, that we can connect based on our vibration, based on our spiritual seeking, based on our interests, our likes and dislikes, the way that we think, what we believe, what we want, primarily what we want. So this is a prime opportunity to do that. Soul Tribe of the One Soul. Okay, without further ado, I gotta get ready for my next influencers class. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Take care. Gateofunity.com/summit, and the links below.